Okay, we are live on Facebook now. So I just need to very quickly sort out Instagram. So just give me a couple of seconds here. Looks like the stream that we had scheduled on Instagram didn't work. And Joanne is here. Hi, Joanne. Oh, technology. So just bear with me for a couple of seconds here. Just while Instagram is loading, and then just get Spotify going for the meditation. Okay. Okay, so we're live on Facebook, and then we're just waiting for Instagram to give us the go ahead here. Perfect. So we are live on Facebook, so we're not live on Instagram yet. Okay. Okay, just bear with me for 2 more seconds here. Okay. All right, so now we're live on Instagram, we're live on Facebook, we're good to go. We should be good for Spotify. All right, well, first of all, thank you for joining me here. I've been wanting to do this talk for quite a while now, and it is definitely a very strong teaching. I can tell you, and it's going to sound very cliche, and it's going to sound very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it's changed my life in many different ways. So as always, the knowledge comes to people for it to be shared, and that's what we're here to do. So the name of this chat is "Are you living or surviving?" The Essenes and living consciously. Well, there's a couple of points to this talk. The question that I'm asking you, if you're living or surviving, it's $1 million question. And it's $1 million question because it's a really hard question to just take in. We have been taught that living is I get out of bed, I go to work, I bring in an income, and then eventually I die. And once I die, then that's the end of it all. And depending on your beliefs, is you go into another life or you go to purgatory and you go to heaven, and then that's the way it happens. But living is more than that. Living is getting out of bed every morning, and from the moment I put both feet on the ground, I'm enjoying myself and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and it's bringing me the uttermost happiness. So that is the difference between living and surviving. When we go into survival mode, is I'm just doing enough to not drown myself, is I'm just doing enough to not anger people. I'm just doing the bare minimum to get my head out of water. So that's when you get that difference between living and surviving. So it really asks you the question, are you living consciously? Am I in my full consciousness every time that I step into anything that I do? And that is a question that you really have to wrestle with and really understand. Um, And when you start to do these things, whatever it is you're doing, you ask yourself the question, why is it that I'm doing something? What is there a purpose to it? What is that end in mind? And that's how we talk about this thing of living and surviving. And when I'm doing the things that bring me joy, when I'm doing the things that make me happy, with every single thing that I do, when there is that happiness that comes with it, that is where I'm fulfilling my life purpose. The life purpose of anyone who's incarnated into the matter is to just live. The beauty of life is just life itself, is really living it to the best of your ability, because in living that consciously, in living that to the best of my ability, that's where my life purpose becomes fulfilled. That's when that life mission that was given to me, that's where I see it and I understand it. Um, Anyone and everyone can tell you what the life mission is. Anyone can tell you what the life purpose is, but it's up to you to live it. And it's in the living it that we understand it and we fulfill it. Your life purpose will go unfulfilled if you don't make it conscious and you don't realize that that was your life purpose. You'll see it in the next life. Those activities that you're seeing in this life that you remember doing in past lives, those are the things that perhaps you weren't the most conscious when you lived them, and now you're living them again. So that'd be a good perspective to think about that when you have the deja vus, when you do past life work. If it comes up and you remember it very vividly and you're seeing it again, that's the sign and that's the hint that it's something that perhaps in another life you didn't take. Um, so that's sort of the overview of living. And when we talk about that surviving, just like I was talking about, when we come into surviving, there isn't really a purpose for myself. There is a purpose for something else, something that is from the outside. So I don't know how many of you have said this before to yourselves. I will only be happy if I achieve this. And then that becomes your sole purpose for living, is something super external. Is it really that something that I really want? It could be, but if it's something that I think is going to fulfill some kind of void, be it matter, some kind of situation that is perhaps not matter. And once you get to that if, and you work your ass off and you reach the if, now I have this, I finally bought my house. Well, now I will like this, and I will only be happy if, and you realize that you fall on this eternal wheel of I will only be happy is, and I always put sort of a blockage in my happiness because I'm not there fully and consciously. I'm there with a caveat or something in the middle. And eventually you realize that all of those I'm happy if continue to be an I'm happy if. And if you ever follow the Buddhist teachings, that becomes the wheel of samsara, the wheel of reincarnation, the wheel of suffering. In a way, some will say that desire is the mother of suffering, while attachment is the father of suffering. Same thing when I'm choosing not to let something go that needs to go, because there is some kind of energetic attachment or some kind of attachment in feelings. You're gonna see that as well. that you go back to surviving because now I'm trying to not lose this thing that potentially has to go. And once it goes, something else comes better, but I'm refusing to see the something else that comes better. So, one thing that I would like to invite you to do this week is to sit down and be as honest as you can be with yourself and ask yourself, am I living or am I surviving? And when you ask yourself that question, have a look at everything that you're doing. Make a list. Make a list from the moment you get out of bed. And the first thing that you do when you get out of bed, is it drinking a glass of water? Is it taking your pills? Is it looking at your phone? Why am I doing this? Is it bringing me joy? Is it bringing me happiness? Or am I just in robot mode where I do this task because it's what I'm supposed to do? And then I do the next task because it's what I'm supposed to do. And then I do the next thing because it's what I'm supposed to do. So when you take that supposed to out and you go, this is because I want to do this. And every time I do it, it fulfills me. It makes me happy. There ain't the purpose of living. There ain't the teaching. There ain't the living versus the surviving. So what you're gonna have to understand is that when you come to this consciousness and living versus surviving, and sometimes you're going to have to say no. And this is sometimes the hardest part for a lot of people. It's one of the hardest parts for me as well. You're going to have to say no to people. And you're going to have to say no to people because it becomes that living versus surviving. I end up having to survive or do something that I don't want to do and brings me no joy, to do something for somebody else. And there's two things here. There's being in service. That's one thing. And then there's doing things for people in order to fulfill myself. And what do I mean to fulfill myself? Sorry, not to fulfill myself, but to live vicariously through them. So if I feel that on anything and everything, I need to be of assistance to another, but why can't I do this thing for myself that I have been wanting to do? Am I looking for approval? What am I looking to learn out of that experience? And that's when service and surviving become separate. I'm not saying go around, be a jerk, say no to everybody, and be as selfish as you possibly can, but take a look at the things that you're doing and why you're doing them, and just answer that question to yourself, and then you'll start to see and you'll start to discern what is actually something that you need to do, something that is going to fulfill you, versus something that you're doing and you're doing to fulfill the wishes of another, to do the bidding of another, or is something that perhaps I myself should be doing for me, but I'm doing it for another because maybe I don't have that confidence yet. Maybe I'm not grounded in my truth. And we're going to see how we work through that here shortly. Um, so when we live consciously and that shift happens in our mind and in our vibrations, we're going to move from that survival to the joy. Things are going to be shown to you in a different color. As you become fulfilled, this is how you turn to that abundance frequency. You're not asking to be saved, but you are tapping into a frequency where you're looking to save yourself. And it is in that saving yourself that the opportunities for you to grow show up. They always show up in the living. They will never show up in the surviving. If I'm always asking to get my head out of water and get my head out of water, I'm eventually going to keep creating situations that are going to put my head underwater for me to keep asking to get out of water. It is the moment where I plant my 2 feet on the ground and say, hey, this is where it's my own power. This is where it's my own thing. This is where I do what makes me happy, that I'm going to creating those situations. And I always tell people when we start to work with this is don't flip to living 100%. Just go from 0 to 100 after we finish this talk. Remember, and always remember and have this consciously in yourself. You are a body. You are a spirit that has taken on a body to live experiences. So your earthly experiences are needed. They are more than needed to help you move forward. and they're helping you to move your spirit forward, but use the power of your spirit in order to live through these experiences. If I'm stuck in this wheel of people having me always do this for them, or people always me help making me feel this way, and I continue to go around and around and around, and I keep creating this energy for this to happen, then the moment that I take my consciousness back, that's when my spirit kicks in and says, okay, now you understood the experience, let's move you out of here, let's go ahead and give you the tools that you need, let's go ahead and put you in the position where you're going to be successful and where you're going to do much better. And the spirit is always there. The moment that you honor the physical body as the vehicle that you have taken to have these experiences, and you come to terms with it, and you both in a way have this understanding that, hey, you are here, I'm here, we're one together for this experience. I honor you for everything that you've done for me, everything that we've gone through together, everything that we're doing now, and everything that we're going to do later on. I honor you for everything. Then my body in a way takes its place and knows that my spirit is the one that controls it, and I can live from the spirit and not live from the matter. And this is something that happens through evolution. It doesn't happen after we have this conversation, I go tell everyone off and just do my own thing. It doesn't. It's a practice. It's a practice of seeing everything that is being thrown in front of me. And the the daily practice that you're going to see when we do this stuff is when it comes to your inner peace. In the meditation today, we're going to talk about inner peace. And there's people that I know that do say 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours of meditation. They walk out, they're in this inner peace. Okay, they're in this awesome inner peace. And then someone cuts you off on the 401, or someone cuts you off on the street, and you completely lost that inner peace because you've already told everyone and their mother off because they cut you off. Then what's the point of your 2 hour meditation? Think about it from that perspective. Understand that things happen, things hit a climax, and then things hit an end. And it's the way I keep myself and the way I keep my vibration through it all that is going to put me into living, or is going to put me into surviving. Is there really a point to tell someone off and lose my inner peace over something that happened? To some of us, it is, and it's part of the lesson. To others, is not. So those are these things: is coming into your peace and keeping it there, staying in that 80-20. Have that 20% where you're angry and you honor your feelings, but always come back to that 80. Always come back to that spirit. Always come back and make conscious that you are a spirit that has just taken a physical body. And you guys are both here working in tandem to understand and move on to that eventual ascension and your full taking of consciousness. So let's talk about where these teachings come from. These teachings have been on this earth for a long time. These teachings actually come from a group of people called the Essenes. And I've always liked to call the Essenes the people of Jesus. They were Jewish people that live along the lake shores of the Promised Land, Jerusalem, and so on and so forth. And they move back and forth between Jerusalem and Egypt. And where do these scenes really start? So when Atlantis falls and Lemuria falls, the teachings from those two continents or kingdoms, whatever you want to call them, they're taken by Thoth, the Atlantean, who is to my left. They're taken by Thoth, and they get moved to Egypt, they get moved to Greece, they get moved to different power points, to France, and to Jerusalem, that eventually comes later. So they get moved to these power places, and eventually they start to emerge in the matter. These were teachings, I'm going to call them etheric teachings, because they were vibrating at the highest of vibrations. And from there, from the teachings of Lemuria and the house of Muru, and then the teachings of Atlantis, the Nakal school, they really start to emerge very strongly in Egypt. If you know the history of Egypt, the olden Egyptians used to worship quite a few gods. So it was a polytheistic society. Then a new pharaoh by the name of Akhenaten comes forward and he says, no, 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 no. We worship one God. We worship the sun because it is through the sun that feeds its energy from a central sun in the galaxy that we receive all that we need to receive. So when you do pranic meditations on the sun, all the energy from the sun goes into the solar plexus. I like to call the solar plexus the new heart. The focus has always been on the heart as sort of the meeting point of energies, but the pranic energy and the life force energy is always eaten through the solar plexus. So then Akhenaten really starts sun worship, and they start to see the sun as the father and the earth as the mother. The sun as the father being fed from the universe or the central sun and transmitting the codes and the teachings here to us in the third dimension. So when we start sun worshiping, we come to a school of mystery that starts in ancient Egypt called the School of the Eye of Horus. And the School of the Eye of Horus starts to teach the teachings of the Essenes and the teachings of a book called the Kybalion. If you've ever talked to me or worked with me, I send you right to the Kybalion and have you read that, and then I'll have you read it again, and then I'll have you read it again and again. Because in this book, there are going to be 7 universal laws that are going to run and work with the universe. These are the laws that the Essenes live by. So after we come to Akhenaten and then we go back to a normal structure of worshiping many gods because Akhenaten wasn't welcome, so he was killed by the temple priests. They say he was killed by the temple priests. People say he actually ascended and they couldn't find his body, but that's a story for another day. Um, so then what happens in the School of the Eye of Horus is initiates are being taught the Kybalion. They're starting to master the Kybalion through the influence of thought, the influence of Hermes Trismegistus. So they start to learn those teachings, and with those teachings come quite a few secret rites, the rites of everlasting life. So making sure that your physical body doesn't age, that can be done. The tantric teachings that eventually become Mary Magdalene's teachings, the rites of the resurrection, and so on. And you see the rite of the resurrection being performed by Jesus after that crucifixion. If you believe that he was crucified, there's two schools of thought on that. Um, all these rites, and I'm just going to take this as an example, the rites of everlasting life, for example, if someone is to perform something of that nature, you have to live as consciously as possible. You cannot come from a place of surviving and say, well, shit, I want to live forever. I want my body to live forever. We need to do this because I don't want to die. It won't happen like that. It is in your consciousness, and when you recognize that your body is a vehicle and that you're a spirit, that you can make that connection. So this is why consciousness becomes so important. By the time we're done with this thing, consciousness is going to be your favorite word or your least favorite word, and that's fine. um, so then after Akhenaten and after the freeing of the Jews and the Hebrews from Egypt happens, by Moses. Then Moses goes to Mount Sinai and he receives the Ten Commandments. He didn't receive Ten Commandments. Moses received the teachings to live consciously. He received the teachings of the Kybalion. He received the teachings of the Emerald Tablets. He received the teachings of the Hermetica. He received the Hermeticum. When Moses comes down the mountain, he finds most of his people worshiping the goat. They have lost all faith in something bigger. And when you lose all faith in something bigger, you have no faith in yourself. You can't be conscious. They were afraid. They flipped onto surviving mode and stopped trusting. They stopped trusting Moses as their leader. And in that, they stopped trusting themselves. You can't trust anything or anyone else until you trust yourself. So, what what does Moses do? In Moses's wisdom and in the wisdom of the universe and the Essene masters, Moses says, well, no, like I cannot in good consciousness or in good conscience give you these teachings. I just can't. You won't know what to do with them. So I'm going to give you 10 rules about what you should not do or what you should do. So you put people into that survival mode because they don't have the consciousness to live. And when I say most of Moses's people were worshiping the goats, there was a subset of people that actually weren't. There was a subset of people that trusted Moses and that actually had that level of consciousness because they were reincarnated from Atlantis. They were reincarnated from Lemuria. They were ancient masters. And this is where the Essene community forms. So it's a very secluded group of Hebrews or Jews, whatever you want to call them. And they live by the seven laws of the universe. They live by the Hermeticum. They live by the Emerald Tablets. But they find their ways in simplicity. There is no like 2 or 3 hour meditations. There's nothing crazy in the Essene community. Is just simplicity. And the way the community breaks out, it breaks out into 7 different levels, 7 laws, 7 levels, 7 chakras. You start to see the importance of the number 7. So they they break out into 7 different levels. Levels 1 through 3 become the levels of the ignorant. And with the when the Essenes say the word ignorant, is not to be offensive, is not to be it's not to be rude. When they say ignorant, they recognize someone as a soul who has taken up a material body and now has to go through a process. They have to go to a process of remembrance. They have to go through a process of taking back their consciousness. They have to go through this process in order to understand the sense of living, what life is all about, in order to understand the things that they need to do to return back to the Father. So in these levels 1 through 3, people are being taught what their life purposes are. They're being taught how to transcend duality. They start to understand the laws of the Kybalion. They understand that the universe is mental. They understand gender. They understand vibration. They understand frequency. They start to understand all of these things. So after that, after they transcend duality and they understand their essence and they have this connection with the higher self, then they move on to the degree of the therapist or the grade of the therapist. And the therapist is the healer of the community. Many of the healers of the community, however, they don't heal anyone in the community because the Essene community doesn't need healing because the Essene community is conscious. So when there is something wrong with the physical body, then they've lacked consciousness somewhere and they reel that back in. And when you're able to reel that back in, then there is no illness. That's why these people used to live 130 years plus, because sometimes it's how long they took them to learn their lesson, or they found their lesson and they just wanted to hang out in the matter. And that's more than welcome. It's still a universe of free will. So what the therapists used to do is they used to go out to places like Egypt, places like Greece, and that's where they would practice their work. And that is why in religion you get the street preaching, and for example, for the Mormons, you'll get the missions and the travel, because that's what these therapists used to do. They weren't an organized religion, they weren't roping people into believing something, they would just help them through to find their consciousness. And that's grade number 4. And then we moved on to grades 5 to 7. That was the grades of the wise. And all the wise used to do is they would teach. They would teach the ignorant. They would teach the therapist. They would teach them on all the rights of the school of the Eye of Horus. They would teach them on all the laws. They would teach them on anything that they needed to bring back their consciousness. And then eventually you moved on from a therapist onto a wise man. And that's how the teachings became alive or were kept alive from generation through generation through generation. So then, another aspect of the Essene community and their simplicity is that, where's my slide here? Is that peace and the connection to the universe worked in 7 different ways, 7 chakras, 7 aspects, 7 laws. You start to see this number 7 be very important. So they had what is called the Essene tree of life, and it's just like a rendition of the Jewish tree of life, and the Kabbalistic tree of life is something very similar. And at the very top, you have the branches. The week for the Essenes starts on Friday night. So Friday night ends the workday. And before I go to sleep, I come into communion with the universe, with the Heavenly Father. And why is that? Because I am a child of the stars, I am a child of heaven, and I come down here to have a physical experience. So my soul really doesn't enjoy itself until it goes back to the Father. So Friday night before I go to sleep, I go into communion with the Father. And then a day like today, we're white, and it's the Sabbath, what the Jewish people, the Hebrews, call the Sabbath. And this was a day of learning. This was a day where everyone gathered at the temple and they simply learned. They exchanged knowledge. So what happens on Saturday morning? On Saturday morning, being the morning of after I make a connection with the Heavenly Father, then the roots of the tree are connected to the earth. So I make a connection with the earthly mother. And I realize that the earth and I are one. The Father and I are one. I live in the middle. We create the Holy Trinity together. Now you see the importance of the number 3. And when we create this Holy Trinity and we are one, the 3 of us, that is when I take my consciousness back. That is when I become one with my highest aspect. When I understand that I'm one with the earth and I'm one with the universe, what else do I really need? Between those 2 energies, they sustain me. So I connect with the Heavenly Father at night. I connect with the earthly mother in the evening. So what do I do midday? Well, midday, there are another 7 aspects which create the trunk of the tree, and the 7 aspects are called the sevenfold peace. And on Saturdays, I come in peace with my physical body. I come in peace with my aspect in the matter, and I take my consciousness right there, and I say, hey, thanks for all that you've done for me. I understand that I'm a spirit that has taken on a body. So when I do that and I honor my body, then I can bring my spirit more and more into the equation. Then that combo of 3, the Father, the Mother, and myself, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, then we become one. Then after that, I walk into my full consciousness. I become one with my higher self. And then there's other 6 more aspects of peace that I'll cover in the course when we do the course. Just because talking about the Essenes, I could be here all day. And we could do like a 1-year course where I take you through all the teachings and all the practices, but we're not doing that today because I'm also teaching in an hour. Anyways, so it's the simplicity. It's the simplicity of the practices that brings the most consciousness. Their flavor wasn't crazy meditations or crazy aspects, but it was being in touch with the earth, being in touch with the elements. Those of you that have me on Instagram, you see when I talk about the sunbathing. So the sunbathing is how I come into communion with the Father and receive the pranic energy. There is air bathing, where you go ahead and take the breath from the crown through the first chakra and you run it through. That's another work with pranic energy. There is earthing, where you go barefoot, and then what you do is you actually dig a hole, and in that hole you fill it with your intention and you lay on it, and you do that earthing and you come into a deeper communion with the Mother Earth. So there are these practices that all they do is bring simplicity, because all you need is alignment. Alignment to the earth with the place that is hosting you, alignment to the Father where the place where you're from, and you go back to every night, and you will eventually return in full consciousness and alignment with the vehicle that you have taken. When you have that alignment, you don't need anything else. And it all comes from consciousness. All of the practices that are practiced at this point, they're all valid, they're all good because they're building you towards consciousness. I'm not dogging on anyone and saying that the Essenes are like the best thing since sliced bread. They're not. It's just another aspect of seeing it through simplicity. Simplicity in all the things that you do. Okay, so we talked about that. So now, one of the most powerful therapies that the therapist had on their tool belt were what we call the seven Essene mirrors. And the seven Essene mirrors are, like I said, are very powerful, and they're going to carry you through seven things or seven aspects of yourself that are keeping you from having your full peace and are keeping you from tapping into that simplicity and are keeping you from being conscious. Or if you are on the path to consciousness, they're keeping you from hitting that next step. And the seven Essene mirrors are the reflections of myself that I have created into my everyday. Everything that you see, everything that you experience is a reflection of yourself in one way or another. So when we move right into the first mirror, which is attached to the first chakra, is the mirror of the present moment. What am I reflecting at this time? This is going to show me that what is exactly happening inside that is going to lead me to conflict or is going to lead me to suffering. The people around me, why are they here? And why are they the way they are? And why do they make me so angry? It starts to show you not the flaws, but the aspects of yourself where you've lost your empowerment when we're talking about the root chakra. Then the first mirror builds onto the second. What am I judging in another person at the moment? Those things that I'm judging with another are things within me that I'm either too afraid to go ahead and confront, or the things that I feel that I cannot do. And you see how these things are going to start building one into another because I'm aligning the chakras as I go. Mirror number 3, my relationships. How am I forming my relationships? Am I forming them consciously? Am I living each relationship, or are they relationships of survival? Is this person who is next to me right now sharing life with me? Are they here because they are a compliment to me? Or are they here because they're filling a void? They're filling a void that I myself are not willing or do not feel like I can go out and fulfill. Or are they saying, or are they fulfilling something that I feel that I'm missing that I don't want to look for? So I just go ahead and put them here. And then that becomes that. So we're not working together in tandem. They're just kind of here attached to me. And then I carry them on because I need them there. Not because I want them there, because I need them there. Number 4, mirror number 4, the mirror of the heart. We start to look at patterns. So what are the things that I'm denying myself instead of pursuing them? What are the things that I'm saying, I could do this, but I don't want to do it because I'm afraid, or I don't want to do it because people have told me that I can do it, and I believe that. So instead, I start to fill it with another vice. And this is what we'll get into drug addiction or Amazon shopping or the things that you do in order to not engage with the things that you want or the things that you need. Simply be it out of fear, be it out of ignorance, whatever you may be. That's the mirror of the heart. And the mirror of the throat, it's, to me, is one of the most powerful mirrors. The throat is one of the most powerful chakras. And I think, as you can see by the thing I posted yesterday when I was chatting with the Arcturians, the things that you say that create your reality, a lot of them are going to stem from the relationship with your father and your mother, or any parental figure that had a significant hand in raising you. So in this particular mirror, we're going to see your parental figures and the things that they said to you, from your worst memories to your best memories, and the things that you have learned from them. What is it that we need to forgive? What is it that we need to release? What is it that we need to move forward? Mirror number 6, the mirror of the third eye, is by far my most favorite mirror to explore with people, simply because of the journey attached to it, simply because of everything that shows up, and it's the dark night of the soul mirror. So, what am I afraid to surrender to and why? I could be at the cusp of my ascension, I could be at the cusp of my next stage, but it's something that I haven't experienced before. It's something that I have never seen before. It's something that I have never felt before. So when I get to the doorstep, when I'm getting ready to walk into the door, I'm afraid. And because this happens, then this is where people drop into depression. This is where they dropped into those bouts of anxiety. So you start to see the illnesses pop up here. And it is when I surrender that I go ahead and get through my dark night of the soul. And a lot of people use the dark night of the soul kind of sort of as an excuse. Like, oh, I did this wrong. It was my dark night of the soul. The dark night of the soul is what's keeping you from surrendering to what's next in your journey. A lot of people are like right there, but they won't go the extra mile. They won't go the extra step because they have never seen it before. They have never done it before. They don't know what's coming. But it'll be that experience that gets you out of the matter into ascension and is just taking that step. And the 7th mirror, which is also a good one, is the mirror of acceptance. How do I see myself? Can I accept who I am in order to become empowered, in order to be who I am? No matter what I look like in the physical, no matter what my circumstances are, can I accept them? Can I accept them? Can I take them? And can I run with them? That is the question that is asked in this mirror here. Because when I accept myself at the physical level, I can use the words I am to empower myself. When I'm empowered at the physical level, then I can say the words I am at the big level. I am spirit, I am matter. When those things come together, you don't need anything else. That's ascension. You've become one with your true essence. You accept everything that happens. You accept everything that you are and everything that you have become. That is, in a way, the teaching of consciousness. That is, in a way, the work to do. And then when we start to look at these things, when we start to look at these 7 aspects of ourselves, this is where we really start to open up. And at the end of it, when you work through all these 7 mirrors, and we'll work with the sacred geometrical shapes that are associated to them. When you start to work with this and make it not part of your daily practice, but it's a practice that you consciously understand, that you go to it when you need it. This is where you take your consciousness. This is where you can truly say and stand on both of your feet physically and say, hey, I am living. I'm no longer surviving. Surviving doesn't even come into the picture because I am living, because I understand everything that I'm creating. I understand who I am. I accept myself. I'm not really bound to anything else that is earthly. I work with it, but I'm not bound to it. There is no boundary. I understand that I'm in this physical experience as a spirit, and I have the power to control everything. So that is the work of the 7 Essene mirrors. That is sort of a very brief overview of the Essene community. So the course that I'll be teaching, it'll be going from, where's my description here? It will be going from, we're starting on September 12th, and we're going to meet for 4 Saturdays. And I like teaching on Saturdays because they are the days of the Sabbath. They are the days of the Essenes. A lot of people ask me why I teach only on Saturdays, usually because of that. And then just let me look at the calendar here. So we're starting on September 12th, and we'll go from 11 to 1. And then we'll go on September 19th, September 26th, and then we'll go on October 10th. And the first day, I'll give you a more detailed understanding of the Essene community. And and then we'll do the first mirror. Then on the forthcoming days, we'll do mirrors 2 and 3, then mirrors 4 and 5, then mirrors 6 and 7. And as well, there's a lot of I don't like to call them secret, but there's secret teachings of the Essenes that are very useful. So that's when we talk about things as the teaching of the menorah that I love so much, and I explain to you what the menorah stands for and how it explains many aspects of life and consciousness in the chakras. We'll talk about the pentagram and the meaning of the pentagram from the Essenes. Um, and And then we're going to get a little bit into the teachings of Jesus, of course, and the teachings of Mary Magdalene. We find that, obviously, as everyone knows nowadays, the Magdalene story has been pretty much, I guess the word would be bastardized. Um, and Mary Magdalene was an Essene master that did a lot. After Jesus passes on and becomes crucified, it is Mary Magdalene and Joseph of Arimathea that go on to the south of France, and they carry forth the teachings of the Holy Grail. Um, we'll talk about what the Holy Grail is. The Holy Grail is it's a collection of books and a collection of teachings to bring back consciousness, and there's more aspects of the Holy Grail that we'll talk about as well. So that is sort of the brief overview onto what this is. If you feel the Essene calling to jump on this course, is $120. There is the link on the description. If you're on Instagram, you'll see the link on my bio. And then we can go from there. If you have any questions, I'm not answering questions today, just for time, because I have to teach at 11. But if you have any questions, send me a message, or put them on the comments on Facebook, or send me a message on Instagram, and then I'll be happy to address them. And with that said, thank you for listening to all my rambling, especially on Saturday morning. I know a lot of you on the Pacific timeline, it's like about 6:54, and then all of you overseas, I don't know what time it is, but thank you very much. It's well appreciated. Thank you for allowing me to fulfill my purpose. That's what I have to say. So now I'm going to carry you through a short Essene meditation. I have notes, but from what they told me yesterday is perhaps we're not going to go by the notes. And there's a little surprise at the end for you. We'll see who comes through and we'll see what they have to say. So I'm going to very quickly jump off of Instagram because Instagram kicks you off at an hour and we're at 47 minutes. So we don't get kicked off during the meditation. I'm just going to quickly jump off of Instagram. I'll restart the live video and then we can join. And it'll give me 2 seconds to fix my spot here. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back on IG now. Just have to get Spotty going here. I will just wait for the... Today, those of you that are on the Masters and the Race course, you guys are going to get double the action today with the meditation. So you're going to be very energized or you're going to be very tired today. One of the two. Perfect. This. And Perfect. So we're going to go through just a brief Essene meditation and just a bit of an announcement. These gatherings with teachings and meditations are actually going to become a monthly thing. I have a place where I'll be there physically, and we'll be streaming them through Facebook and Instagram, so we can really gather everyone across the globe. So it's gonna be good. Um, there's a lot of guidance for you that's gonna happen. So I'm quite excited for that. So anyways, we're gonna take 3 deep breaths, get nice and comfortable. Um, and yeah, we'll get started. And just let me cue the music here. Nah, I was just joking. You don't have one. All right, so 3 deep breaths, and we will get started. And today we're going to start with both of our hands on our heart center. And we will start with the following prayer. Thank you, Father, for one more day you shine in the sun. For all that I see, and for this, thank you. And now, from about 5 feet above your head, where your higher self sits, 5 meters above your head from where your higher self sits, you're going to see a tube of light. This tube of light comes from the higher self, and it starts to cover you from head to toe. Once the tube of light has been brought down and is covering you now from head to toe, from 5 meters above your head, you will see and feel as if you were inside a clear quartz. A normal clear quartz or a Lemurian clear quartz, the choice is yours. As the tube of light is now created, you're going to see little roots that start to come from the plants of your feet or the bottoms of your feet, and they slowly but surely start to make their way down to the heart of Mother Earth. As the roots start to go down to the heart of the earth and they reach the earth, once you feel that heart-to-heart connection with the Divine Mother, we will affirm that the earthly mother and I are one. Thank you for allowing me to be here in the matter to fulfill the lessons that I need to fulfill and the learning that I need to experience. As the earth takes on your affirmation, you're going to see a spiral of light that comes from the heart of the earth, and it makes its way right up to your base chakra, your first chakra, the root. As that light spiral makes it up from the root, you see it passing the sacral, you see it passing the solar plexus, and then it stops right at your heart center. Let the energy sit for a couple of seconds there and just take in all the love from the earth, taking the connection with the Divine Mother. The Divine Mother and you are both one. And now, from the higher self, you're going to see another spiral of light that comes from the higher self, and it makes its way down to your crown chakra. As this light spiral hits the crown chakra, you're going to see it go in through your head, down through the third eye, through the throat, and it will also stop at the heart. As it gets to the heart, you remind yourself that the universal father or the cosmic father and yourself are one. You are him or it, and it or him is you. And as you feel that loving connection with the father, you're going to see that both the male and female energies, the earth and the father, or the cosmic universal energies, are going to mix. They're going to mix, mix, mix. And as they start to mix, you feel a change in the vibration. You start to feel them come together to a stronger and more unified energy. As this energy reaches its climaxing point, you're going to see it shoot up and come out of your crown chakra, and you're going to see it shoot down and come out to the bottom of your feet. We are now grounded to the universe and to the earth. You're going to see this loving energy also come out of your hands, and you're going to see it come out from your heart center. You've created the Holy Trinity, the Trinity of the Father, the Mother, and yourself as the child. When you sit in this consciousness, you realize that you don't need anything else. Simplicity is the teaching. And now that the frequency has changed, you're going to find that we're no longer in the room where we started this short journey. We're actually now standing in a forest. We're standing in a forest, and this is the forest of your subconscious memory and your subconscious mind. This is the forest where the Akashic records lie. Take a couple of seconds and have a look. See what it feels like, see what it smells like, see what the sounds are. See who's here with you. Take a couple of seconds and take it all in. And now, as you look across from you, you're going to see that in this forest, there's a pathway. This pathway is going to be leading somewhere. We don't know where it's going to be leading, but we are very excited to go on for the trip. And as we start to walk towards the pathway and we start to enter it, you start to realize that this pathway is going to take you through a small journey through your highest aspect, through your sevenfold piece. This pathway is very inviting. Place both hands on your heart one more time. Release the fears. Release the anxieties. Simply surrender to the invitation. Remind yourself right before you walk in that you're a spirit. You're a spirit that is living a human experience. You are eternal. You are all powerful. You've just forgotten this. Give yourself that time to come into communion with your higher self. Give yourself that time to come into communion with your highest aspect. As you start to come into communion with your higher self, with your essence, with your monad, and now that you have mustered up this strength to go through this pathway and visit your sevenfold piece, you hear a voice from above your head that says the following: I am here, remember? I am always here. Allow me to walk this path with you as I always have, as I always will, until you make the conscious decision to become one with me. I am you, and you are me. We are both one. Simply empower yourself through my words and protection and take the leap. Let's go for a walk. Let's get to know one another more and more. Let's come closer through this journey. What are you so afraid of today? After all, it's all your creation. Empower yourself and start this walk down the pathway. As you start to hit the long stretch, take a look at any imagery that shows up. You could be seeing images of this life. You could be seeing images of past lives. Some of you are seeing images of lives that you're setting yourself up to become. Don't lose yourself in these. Just see them, honor them, and see what comes of them later on. Instead, just recognize how powerful you are here. Recognize how far along you have come from one life to the next. Just take a moment and take it in. Take it in as consciously as you can. Let's keep walking. We're working in the here and in the now. As we start to reach the end of the pathway, this is going to bring us to a meadow. This meadow is very unique for you. This is your own special place where you're always welcome to heal, create, or simply just come into a loving and quiet communion with your highest aspect. Right here, when you start to see this meadow and everything that it brings and how the frequency just starts to grow and it starts to rise up, you start to realize more and more and make conscious more and more that you're not a physical body. You are a soul. You are a spirit. You are one with the Father, one with the universe that has come to this plane to have a physical experience and experience itself. You are an extension of the one at the all. All your wins, all your losses, all your limitations, all your empowerment is therefore created by you and you alone. As such, anything that you want to change resides within you. The power to live your incarnation consciously resides within you. And now, as you've taken the time to take in the meadow and the vibration of the meadow, you're going to see a tree. This tree is unique to you. This tree is your own personal Essene tree of life. All of us that have answered the Essene call today and in previous lives have our very own Essene tree of life. We have all been Essenes. We're all Essenes. We're just awakening to that now. And as you see this tree, only 3 aspects of yourself are being highlighted. We're working on your earthly aspects today. The roots represent the earth. The branches are going to represent the spirit, which we're not working on today. And the middle is very special for you because the mirror is going to be the link between the two. It is through the middle, it is through yourself and through your consciousness that you're able to bring in the spirit and the earthly aspects together. To do this, we need to look at each one. We need to look at each one in consciousness and how one is affecting the other and how one is working with the other. This is how we fulfill the law of the universe that was passed down by the thrice great, as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without. Very quickly, glance at all the aspects of yourself. Glance at the earthly, glance at the spiritual, and then glance at the middle. Take a look at where you stand. How thick is the trunk of that tree? How are the branches looking? How are the roots looking? Are they earthed or are they coming off? Take a couple of seconds and just look at your tree. Look at your highest aspect. Look at your essence. Where does everything stand? Ask yourself this question: how am I doing at bridging this gap? How am I doing at bridging the spiritual and my highest aspect with the earthly or my lowest aspect? Not lowest as something judgmental, but lowest as in this is where it sits in the matter. How am I doing on this today? Am I getting too caught into the matter? Or am I getting too caught into the spiritual that I've lost track of the matter? Which one is it today? Which one is it right now? We're not judging here. We're making things conscious in unconditional love. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to do a bit of work on our earthly aspects. In front of you, you're going to see 3 angels that show up. Each one of them stands with a spear in their hand. The colors are red, orange, and yellow. These are the angels of your physical aspects, your roots, or your connection to the Divine Mother here in the garden of sister and brotherhood, the way you interact with other people in the orange, and your life force energy in the yellow. So now, the first angel with the red sphere is going to call you forward. In that sphere, they're going to show you in the thing and the now, the things that are keeping you from empowering yourself. The things that are making you create a reality that is not in cue with the things that you're looking to experience. What are these things? Why are they here? See them and take them in. A lack of empowerment is going to see an individual succumb to the circumstances without a chance to assert their truth or their power over any situation, be it personal or be it impersonal. Take a look into the sphere that the angel is showing you and see. What is making you create a reality that you don't want to create? What's happening here? What's taking your empowerment away? Why are you giving so much of yourself that you're not able to root in the earth? Take a couple of moments and have a look here. And now, as you've had a couple of moments to take a look at those things from the red sphered angel, the things that are keeping you from creating that reality that you want, the things that are keeping you from empowering yourself, take a look at those things and just take them into your perspective. You don't have to do anything with them now. Just bring them into your perspective and consciousness. And in your own time, what can you do different? What needs to be done here for you to make those changes? What would it take for you to come into an alchemical rebirth on your first chakra to take your empowerment back from where it has been taken? Now, the second angel is going to call you forward. And just as the first, they're going to show you the relationships with the people around you. This power that I'm losing, who are you giving it to? Who are you trying to please? Who are you trying to be like? Who are you trying to be liked by? And you're so deep into this that you have forgotten your own essence. By giving your power away to another, you lose your ability to be who you truly are. You begin to chase an image that does not resonate with your highest aspect. It doesn't resonate with yourself. That's why it can't be. This is going to see you lose your individuality and succumb to the external pressures each and every time. Who is it that's taking my power away? And why? Why am I consciously or unconsciously giving it to them? Who is it that I'm trying to please? Who is it that I'm trying to be like? Take a couple of seconds and look at this. And when you do this, go back to the words of an Essene master that said, who am I serving? Who am I here to serve? Take all of these things that the second angel is showing you and don't judge them. Don't run away from them. See them with the uttermost love. If they maybe are not resonating right now, shelf them for the time being, and they will come up again when they're supposed to come up. And now, the third angel is going to call you forth. And in their yellow sphere, they're going to show you the things that you're afraid of, the things that you're afraid to get started, the things that you simply do not feel like you're capable of doing. How come you're not capable of doing these things? What is it about them that makes them so unreachable? Is it really that they're unreachable? Or is it that you have put limitations on yourself? When we negate our power, when we negate our abilities, when we put blockages on ourselves, we once again let the external overtake the internal. We lose control and we lose the power to move forward. Take all of this in. What are the things that I'm afraid to get started? What are the things that I don't think I'm capable of doing? Why? Why is that? Why can't I do them? What is making this so unreachable? Are they really unreachable, or have I done this to myself? Take a couple of moments here and take in the teachings, take in the words, take in the feelings, take in the pictures from the angels. Take it all in. And like we said before, as these angels are showing you all of these images, do not be afraid, do not judge, do not walk away. It's simple to walk away. It's very simple to walk away. But it is in consciousness where healing happens. It is in consciousness and in empowerment of my own circumstances that healing is going to happen. Simply take them all in and see them from the most loving perspective possible. It is from this position that you empower yourself. It is from this position that you seek your own healing and become the ultimate expression of yourself. A child of the stars that is one with the universe and is living an earthly experience to simply experience themselves. The first angel is a representation of your root chakra and your grounding. This is the earth element within you. The second angel is a representation of the sacral chakra, um, the water element within you, and your ability to flow and seek your own pleasure in all things. It is through my pleasure that I can give pleasure unto others. It is through my earthing and my rooting that I can support others. It all starts inside. While the third angel is a representation of the solar plexus. This is your fire. This is your life force. This is where the will resides to be able to do all the things that you want to do. This is where the will resides for you to be able to live and not survive. This is where the will starts, in the living. What are the things that you need to do now consciously to be able to take an alchemical rebirth in the earth, the water, and the fire? This is how you return to your true essence, by balancing out the earthly aspects of yourself right now. Make all of this conscious today. And as you start to do so, as you start to take in the teachings, as you start to take in the experience, in about 2 seconds, 1, 2, the frequency changes. The frequency changes from something of a lower vibration to a higher vibration. It's a vibration that you have never felt before. It's a very loving vibration, but at the same time, it's a very strong vibration. And now behind you are going to stand 2 Essene masters. Take a look at them. To a lot of you, these 2 Essene masters are going to be very familiar. To some of you, perhaps not, and this is fine. You're going to see that in their hands, the male aspect, or the male master, holds a green sphere, and the female aspect holds a pink sphere. They look at you, just as the angels did, and they call you forward. Through their spheres, the masters are going to show you the things that you have forgotten, the things that make you happy, the things that make you whole, and the things that make you complete. The feeling of wonderment and exploration, the return to the inner child, your innocence. The aspect that of yourself that sees nothing, that needs nothing and seeks nothing. It simply lives for the experience. The open receiving of unconditional love and the open giving of unconditional love. They are showing you the aspect of yourself that you are, that you have always been, and that you will always and will ever be. Unconditional love. See the feelings that start to arise as the masters show you your true essence? There's nothing mundane here. There's nothing of the matter. It's simply love. Love that does not require anything in return. This is the type of love that you very well know, and you have always known, but maybe you just forgot about it. Take this in. Take it in deeply, and see all the feelings that arise, see all the images that arise, see all that you see and feel all that you feel. All is honored today. What messages are coming through at the moment? Whatever comes, just take it. It's not coming from the rational mind today. It's coming from your highest aspect. It's coming from your true essence. Listen, take them in, and just integrate them. And as you do, take count of the following questions. Are you living, or are you surviving in your material experience? Are you doing the things that you want to do each and every day? Are you enjoying life on your own terms? Are you working from your own power and from your own vision? Are you living or are you surviving in your material experience? Are you doing the things that you want to do each and every day? Are you enjoying life on your own terms? Are you working from your own power and from your own vision? Take in these questions and answer them as honestly as you possibly can. There is no judgment, there is no one else here. It is only yourself and the sacred meadow with your higher self and with the masters. To this meadow, you're always welcome. You can always return here and meet with the angels and the masters and your higher self, so that they may show you what needs to be shown, and so that you may be showered in the most unconditional love. And now, the two masters who are showing you your true aspect in the green and the pink spheres are going to deliver the following message to you. My beloved, or our beloved, remember that you have come to this incarnation to experience. Any and all experiences that you're here to have happen on your own terms. You are by no means subject to the will of another. You are by no means subject to the circumstances. You are not here to live up to the image of another. Be unique. Shine your light. You are a universe and the universe within yourself. You are one with the one and the all. And your experience is yours and yours only. Enjoy every step that you take, no matter the outcome. This will only be meaningful to you. Before you do anything, ask yourself, am I doing this for me? Am I doing this out of my own free will? Or am I trying to please another? Or am I pledging allegiance to another or to something? Am I trying to be like somebody else? Is this decision or this experience that I'm about to go into, is it shining my light or is it dimming it? Am I dimming my own light to achieve a certain outcome? Remember that the most important aspect of life is life itself. Live your life to the fullest. Live your life to the degree that makes you happy, whole, and complete. The more that you remain in communion with your highest self and work not from the I am of the ego, but from the I am of your highest aspect, your higher self, your monad, your light will always shine and you will fulfill all that you are here to fulfill. You're not chasing anything or anyone. You are living your process step by step. The more conscious you are of every step that you take, the more you're going to enjoy each one of these experiences. Therein the teaching, therein your life purpose. Your lessons will never be fulfilled if you're not living them consciously. Live your life in your own terms. Remember who you are, who you have always been, and who you will always be. An aspect of the one and the all that is nothing but unconditional love, experiencing itself in a world of matter. You are always in command of your own energy and your destiny. Empower yourself from this point forth. Live or survive. The choice is yours. Living life at its most conscious level is the path to your inner peace. And once you achieve that inner peace, there ain't the path to your ascension. There ain't the path to your full consciousness. This is all that we have to say to you. Enjoy life. Enjoy every aspect of your life. And do it from your own empowerment. Do it from your own heart. Do it from your own 2 feet. Empower yourself and live. Remember, the most important thing about life is life itself. With much love and in service, Jeshua ben Joseph and Mary Magdalene. Take a couple of seconds here and take in that long message that you just received and integrate all that has been said today, showed, and experienced. And now, before the masters disappear, you see both Jesus and Mary with their hands create the blessing mudra or the master mudra and bless you. Bless you in your incarnation, bless you in your aspects, and bless you in all that you're going to do moving forward. And they start to slowly, slowly fade away, but your higher self is still right there. next to you, and they got you right back down the path to the entrance where we started the journey. Take a couple of seconds to look back at your tree, look back at your highest aspect, and just take it all in. Take it all in for a couple of seconds. And when you're ready, bring your hands to your heart. And with our hands in our heart, as we start to take everything in and bring it all into our consciousness, we'll take it from the etheric planes and we'll bring it into the here and the now, into our material world. We, as always, show our gratitude to the Divine Father, the Divine Mother, our higher selves, the Essene Masters, and all the Essenes, physical and non-physical. And we slowly but surely start to find ourselves back in the room where we started this small journey. In the end, and here's the secret to everything, you're going to find that we never truly went anywhere. We just simply raised our frequency and our vibration. Take a couple of deep breaths and slowly start to come back into the physical reality. And as always, we close with the alchemical words. May the light, power, and love reestablish the plan on this, our Earth. Much light, love, and peace. And just take those couple of seconds to come back. I just want to thank everybody for joining me today, wherever you are. You'll have all the information for the course on the Facebook link thingy, and you'll have all the information for the course on Instagram on my bio, and then I'll keep putting up more information throughout as the week goes. We have about a month till we get started. So I do hope that you're going to join me. I thank you for taking the Essene call today, and I hope that you're going to take the Essene call even deeper. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to understand, and there's a lot to really add to your practice from simplicity and return to the essence, return to the purpose that the masters know and they serve in the most unlimited love and service, unconditional love and service. So that is all for me. Thank you so much. And it is Saturday, so peace be with you. And those of you that are in the Masters and the Race course, I'll see you in about half an hour. And we have fire planned today, so we will see you then. Thank you so much. Peace be with you.